there, friends. This is Leah, and I am happy to be back from my trip to Montana. So I'm going to just let this give some time, let people find the live stream, and then we will get going on today's card. I'm going to go ahead and get this all pulled up on my phone so that we are ready to go. Hi, Sherry. Thanks for joining me today. All right. I hope you guys have had a good couple of weeks. I have been away on vacation home to Montana. We had a great time, but it's nice to be home. Hi, Emma. Thanks for joining. And I am happy to be back here with you guys. Hi, Joan. So happy to have you, and Diane. We are, lost my train of thought, sorry. If you are new to our live, be sure to say hi, let us know you're new. We love to welcome you and have you here on our lives. Hi, Osaki and Susie and Karen. Okay, I see you. It seems like you guys are finding the live today, so that is awesome. So for today's card, because I just got back yesterday evening, I thought that I would do an inspired by card. So I am creating a card inspired by the lovely TaeEun on our card team using the Thankful for Friends hot foil plate. So that's what we're going to use today. Hi, Kinnery. So today, Kinnery is moderating in the comments because Heather had an appointment. So that is my partner in crime today. Hi there, Rosalie and Gloria and Raquel and Linda. So glad that you guys could join us. Oh, hi, Mary. No worries. The replay will be available shortly after the live is finished. So I will love to have you watch it then. All right. So before I get this camera flipped around, because we have a lot to do in an hour, and I don't have much prepped. So we're pretty much going to be doing everything together. I am going to be using some bits and pieces from previous cards that I've made, but for the most part, the bulk of this card we're making live together. So before I get the camera flipped around, I did want to mention we will give away a $15 gift card code at the end. All you have to do is what you're doing now, leave comments, chat with us. I don't see every single comment as it scrolls by because I'm creating at the same time. But Kinnery will definitely try to catch your question if I miss it. But if we both miss it, just ask it again. And then you can also hit the share button. So there's an arrow with the little word share underneath the video. Hit that. You can share to your Facebook page. You can share into a Facebook group as long as they allow it. Just make sure that they allow it. Or you can share it with a friend via email. There's lots of different ways. And once you do that, just come back in the comments and let us know you shared. And that is an extra entry for the $15 gift card code. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get this camera flipped around and get going because we have a lot to do. Okay, let me make a couple of video setting adjustments here. And I will let YouTube catch up on my phone and make sure that it all looks correct. So you're going to see that I turned my Glimmer machine on before we went live, and you'll notice here that the little green light is on, and that is just letting us know that it's ready. So today, the main part of our card is going to be focused on the Thankful for Friends product suite that we have. Now, the Stamp and Die previously released last year. And then in our most recent release, our June release, we added the hot foil plate and then the coordinating layering stencils. Oh, oopsies, that covers it up. That allow you to color in the beautiful image by ink blending. And the great thing about adding the layering stencils into it is it's a really beautiful, fun floral to color, but it's very delicate. And so the layering stencils do make it a little bit easier to color in if coloring isn't your thing. So we are going to be using the hot foil plate today. but I wanted to share that if you don't have a foiling machine, that the layering stencils that we came out with absolutely work with the previously released stamp set. So you can still partner them together and make that beautiful dainty floral image easier to color in. So we're going to go ahead and put our hot foil plate onto our foil machine, and then I'm going to hit the timer button. And that is just heating up this foil plate long enough to make it so when we run it through our machine, the foil will press and stay on our cardstock. Now I probably should have done this part first, but that's okay. We're just going to wing it, cutting out the foil here. I'm not worried if I have a little bit of excess around because I am going to die cut this away, so that should be plenty. Large here. Thanks for sharing, people. We appreciate that a lot. I'm so glad, Gloria, I'm so glad that you love the layering stencils. We do too. Definitely a fun added piece to have for all of your crafting. Hi, Susie. I see that Susie has joined us. And Debbie and Lori. Thanks for joining us, friends. Okay, so our timer button has gone off. So I'm going to rearrange my desk here a little bit because I've got to get my Spellbinders die cut machine over here on my desk as well so that I can run it through. Let me grab that. All right, you're probably not going to be able to see very much of that process at this point. I will see if I can arrange my desk to do it here in a minute. So when you're foiling, you want to put the pretty side of the foil face down onto the hot foil plate. If you don't put it face down and it's flip the other way around, the foil is actually going to stick to your hot foil plate and not the paper. So that's definitely an important aspect. So I am then going to make sure I didn't move that. I'm going to release the actual hot foil plate from the base. And then I'm going to put the two shims that Spellbinders provides. And of course, I feel like I shifted that. So let's make sure I didn't. And I'm going to put the two shims down. And now we're going to go ahead and run it through the Spellbinders Platinum 6 machine fairly slowly. Now, what I have found with our hot foil plates is I don't need to run them back and forth multiple times. One good pass through the die cut machine typically gives me really perfect results every single time. It's not a perfect science, so the great thing is if you make a mistake, you can always do it over again. But let's do the big reveal and see how it went. So as you can see, it went perfect. I have just a tiny little bit of overfoiling, and I'll show you how to get rid of that in just one moment. I'm just going to rearrange my desk now because we are finished with the live foiling for today. So there is this handy dandy little tool that Spellbinders came out that has the magnet, which makes it easy to pick it up and then put it onto the little mat for cooling off. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my platform off, and I'm going to move it from my desk because we don't need it any longer. Okay, and so as I mentioned, there's a little bit of extra foiling in some places, not too much. And what you're going to see is as I use my pink eraser to gently erase those parts away, they're not attached by heat to anything. So they erase away super easy and give you that beautiful, delicate image that we intended for this lovely flower. And I think that's about it. This didn't really overfoil much at all. Right there. Perfect. Okay. Now I use the Spellbinder's Glimmer because it's the one that has given me the best results. There is a version for the Gemini Juniors. I think it's called the Gemini Foil Press. There's a really great video on our YouTube channel by Carissa, who she does a great overview of those two machines. I think there's one other machine out there, but I don't know the name of it, and I don't know what machines it works with, so that would definitely be something you'd have to research. But we do have the video that gives you the overview of those two machines, and it will help give you some information on what works with the die cut machine that you have. Oh, Rachel, I'm happy to hear that you have enjoyed working with the Glimmer machine. That's perfect. Okay, actually, we're gonna go ahead and tape this sheet down now. We're not quite ready to cut it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and tape it down to my glass mat here. And we are gonna use the coordinating layering stencils to ink blend the colors into the, oh, Lori, you're funny. We're going to use the layering stencils to add the color. Now, what I'm going to mention here is while these, of course, have the little notches in the corner for lining up with your A2 sized panel, that doesn't really work when you are using the hot foil plate because it will not have lined up exactly in the space where the stencil is located. So what your best bet to do when you're using the hot foil plate is to line the stencil image up to the hot foil image. So it's not going to perfectly align with your cardstock, but it still will line up perfectly with the image. All right, let's get this lined up real good here. All right, and it's as easy as that to get that image lined up. And so I am doing aqua colored leaves today. You know, that's one of my favorite things to do, is to go just a little bit outside of the standard green. So my first color that I'm using is aquamarine. And I am just going to lightly ink blend this. The ink blending will naturally have a little bit darker shade or tone where it kind of pools at the edge of the stencil. But other than that, I'm going to ink blend, you know, fairly light. Just keep it nice and light and clean. But you'll still get that nice depth that just the stencil just gives to the image. So for all of those that aren't ready to jump on the foiling bandwagon or don't want to do foiling at all, don't forget that this set has the stamp set. So you don't have to foil. You can absolutely stamp in detail black, or you can heat emboss it in gold, or, you know, any color that you prefer. And then you can do the same exact thing. Just the foiling, or the, you know, it just looks a little bit different. The foiling has that somewhat of a letterpress feel to it. So we like giving all of these different options to our customers. All right, so stencil number 1 is finished. And I always think the reveals are so fun because, as you can see, we're starting to get the beautiful coloring on the leaves. So up next, we're going to do the details. These ones are a little bit harder to line up because they're more dainty, but just take your time and you'll find the spot where they fit best. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my tape on there. That helps me line it up better. And then when I have lined up those thin little stems there, I know I'm in the right place and I can get that tape down so I don't accidentally shift it. And then I'm going to use the next shade up in the aquas for this layer, which is the details of those larger greenery pieces and then the thinner stems. Oh, and I forgot to mention I'm using Mermaid Cove for this layer. Hi, Julie. Thanks for joining us today. All right, these layers are quite thin, so I'm not too worried about shading or anything like that. I just want them to color the image in and give a little bit more depth to that greenery. Thank you, Carol. We appreciate that. All right, so let's get these cleaned off. Now I am just wiping my stencils down with a dry cloth right now. Later on, after the live is over, I will clean them a little bit more extensively. And what I have found is the easiest way to clean off my stencils is just by using some rubbing alcohol that I put into a bottle, and I just leave it on my desk. And then they're dry and they are immediately ready to use again when you want to break your stencils out. Okay, so as you can see, we've got our greenery colored in. It's got some beautiful detail to it. It's just lovely. So up next, we're gonna get the flowers ink blended. These ones are super easy to align because this layer is coloring them all in, so it's not doing the details quite yet. So you're just going to want to align it with those flowers, and then we're gonna go to the pinks. So to start, I'm gonna use Sparkling Rose, which is the second shade of pink in our collection of pinks. Oh, I see some people's packages are starting to arrive, which is super exciting. Can't wait to start seeing what you guys do with our most recent release, which includes this hot foil plate and the layering stencils. And same as before, we're just going to ink blend. I'm going to ink blend a little bit heavier at the base of the flower just to achieve even more shading with the layering stencils. This one would probably be really pretty if you did it in multiple colors as well. But today I'm just going to stick with the single shade of color. Hi there. Welcome. I missed it. Oh, there it is, from Colorado. Thanks for joining us today. Oh, I'm glad you guys are enjoying. Those who have enjoyed the hot foil, do have a hot foiling machine, have enjoyed the plates. And as Kenry mentioned, and I think I just mentioned a little bit ago, we did both the stamp set and the hot foil plate to make sure that we were inclusive of everybody and didn't just focus on people that had foiling machines. Yes, and Kenry has mentioned that we have mostly caught up on orders, and grab boxes will start going out soon. So if there are any scrapbooking people watching or people that like to use scrapbooking products on their cards, I do believe there are still some grab boxes left. So, and it's like $140 some odd worth of product for $38. So it's a really great deal. So there's the first layer. It's already pretty. You could leave it as this and it would look stunning. But we're going to take it the extra step and we are going to add in these beautiful details to the flowers. Roberta is asking if we do grab boxes of other items, and we don't at this time. It's typically just scrapbooking product. Let's see here. Will the glimmer work with electric machines? I think is Rosalie asked that. And it will not work with a Gemini. No, I don't know. There are a few different machines that the glimmer machine will work with. I know that it works with the Spellbinders Platinum 6 and I think a Big Shot, but there might be a few others. So that's just definitely something to research. Okay, so we're going to do this final layer in Raspberry Bliss, which is the darkest of our pinks. And I just thought this would be a really great added depth of color, going with that really dark shade of pink. And I'm going to be a little heavier handed at the base and then blend it out a little lighter as you get out further towards the flower. Okay. Thank you so much, Lori. I appreciate it. Well, Julie, I hope that you get the foiling machine on your wish list at some point. Melinda, I would say, so the scrap box is definitely geared towards scrapbooking, but if you like to use scrapbooking products on your cards, there would certainly be enough product in it that you could use. Okay. Let's wipe this off and let's get the final reveal of our beautiful Thankful for Friends flower. Now, this flower set was illustrated by Alex Siberia, and it's just a really dainty and lovely flower. And I haven't used it yet, so I'm really excited with how this turned out. And then you get that beautiful glimmer from the foiling machine. It's just super fun and stunning. Okay, so that part is done, and I will wash those a little bit later. So let's go ahead and put the foil plate away. As you all know, I tend to put things away as I go, just so I don't have a big, huge mess on my desk as the hour goes by. So we previously released the coordinating die. That came first. That was released when we released the stamp set, but we're going to go ahead and get this floral piece cut out here. Super easy to align. It leaves a little bit of a border around the card itself. Get the die cut machine pulled out here. Oh, 1 second, Leah, and I will answer that question. Okay. So foiling and paper. The paper definitely makes a really big difference. So I foil on the Hammermill 100-pound smooth white cardstock. It is super, super smooth. It's really versatile for ink blending. I started out ink blending on it because what I had found was there were a lot of white cardstocks that dye ink didn't ink blend on very well. And of course, our inks are dye-based. So I found this Hammermill cardstock. A crafting friend told me about it. I can't remember who. But then we started foiling, and I never once had any issues with foiling results on the Hammermill paper either. So I have heard that most people don't get very good results with the Neenah cardstock. I haven't used Neenah cardstock in a very long time, and I've never used it for foiling. So I don't have any experience with that. But I do know that there is a really great video that Yana Smakula did comparing papers for foiling. So that would be another great resource to look for as well. Okay. So I have a little bit of die cutting to do. So while I have my die cutting machine out, I figured I would just go ahead and get all of that done. So we can take a look at all of the different pieces that we're going to use to put this card together. So as I mentioned earlier in the live before we got everything going, I am creating a card today that is inspired by one of our card team members. I just got home from Montana yesterday evening, and it was kind of last minute pulling everything together for live today. And so I just thought it would be easier to do a card that's inspired by someone else. And TaeEun created a really lovely card using the Thankful for Friends set. And so I am just creating a card that's inspired by it. It's actually going to be very similar, just different colors. So we are going to go ahead and die cut this diagonal stitched plaid die from some white cardstock. So I'm going to go ahead and run that through my die cut machine real quick. have that, it just creates this really great backdrop for your card. And I'm going to do a little bit of ink blending on that here in just a moment. So then I also wanted to cut out a couple of the ornate frames, which will just be a great layering piece for framing up that beautiful floral. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this a couple of times. As I mentioned, I did not pre-do any of this, so while I'm die cutting, I'm also trying to watch the comments and such. Okay. All right, looks like Kinnery is answering your question about the ink cube restock, so thank you for that, Kinnery. All right, so let's get those middles popped out real quick. And you guys know I like dimensions, so we're going to go ahead and we are going to cut this one more time. Sorry if that was loud. Easiest way to get all of those little middle pieces out. But let's go ahead and cut this one more time. Oh, Rosalie, I'm glad that I could share an inspired card using this plaid die. It's definitely not my original design. And I think someone's asking where we get the cardstock, and I've always just gotten the Hammermill cardstock on Amazon, so it's pretty easy to find. But I think it's possible that my package with our next release just arrived on my doorstep. I'm not completely sure. Someone is at the door. Okay, I feel like 2 layers is probably enough. Sorry, I'm gonna smack this one more time to get all of the pieces out. Not coming out as easy this time. Okay. So let's go ahead and get these 2 pieces glued together. I am just going to use some liquid glue or this glue pen to get these glued together. So interesting enough, you're chatting about weather in there. We were just in Montana and the weather was really hot, like in the 90s most days. And we just got home to Minnesota and we're actually having like an unseasonably cool day. I think it's like in the 70s, cloudy. It was supposed to be really rainy all day, but we really haven't seen that much rain, but maybe it's coming later. So it's kind of a little nice change from how hot it's been. Okay, so there's that layer. I got a little bit of glue on my desk or on my glass mat here. So I'm just going to spritz it down and wipe it up so I don't have stickiness all over everything. We were kind of all over in Montana, Carol, mostly in Butte, but we also made our way up towards the Flathead area as well. Okay, so we have our flower, we have this great frame that we're going to use the frame to anchor this. Now, I wanted to say that I'm also going to be using some of the small butterflies that I have already foiled and ink blended. So these are already done. and I just have to pick which ones I prefer to use. So I've got all of these finished, they're pre-done. And so these butterflies actually drove the color of my flower so that I could use them. So the great thing about the small butterflies set is that you get all of these different butterflies that you can either hot foil or stamp, because of course there's the coordinating stamp. And then you can use the coordinating layering stencils to color them in, or as you can see here, I did foil them in the rainbow colored foil. And I don't even think those ones need to be colored. I think you could die cut them out and just use them as is. And they're so pretty. And then you use the one piece die to cut them all out. And then you have all of these great butterflies. So I used about 3 of them on a project during the release, but I have all of these gorgeous butterflies left. And so I thought today would be a perfect day to use them up and put them on my card. All right. Oh, Carol had a home in Big Fork. My family has a cabin on a lake that is really close to Big Fork. Like you actually go through Big Fork, or no, you get to Big Fork before you go to the turnoff. So I know that area quite well. So I want to give a little bit of color to the background. So we're going to add a little bit of ink blending into it, but I just broke my ink blending tool. That's awesome. Gotta love live crafting. So give me 1 second while I find another ink blending tool. Here we go. All right, so I want to add just a little bit of ink blending here and there just to give the background some interest. So you probably see me pick this piece up and down and as I go, because I just want to make sure that I'm ink blending in areas where you'll be able to see it peek out a little bit. So first up, I'm going to use Sparkling Rose, and we're just going to ink blend in this upper corner. And then very lightly, I'm going to add a little bit of Raspberry Bliss, but we're going to really move it down because I don't want it to be too dark. So let me see. Okay, that looks nice under there. All right. I might use a little more Raspberry Bliss, so I'm going to leave that little bit that's on my desk here. And then we're going to go ahead and add in a little bit of aquamarine as well. So let's do that over here on this side. And a little bit of Mermaid Cove. Just down here in this corner. Okay. And then I just want to add a little bit of color distinction between those two blues. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up some of the Raspberry Bliss, and we're going to just add a little bit in here too, like that. And it might seem kind of weird when you look at it just as is, but it will be really awesome when we put the entire card together. All right. So one thing I did pre-do was I did get a 4 1/4 or an A2 sized card base all prepped and ready to go. I'm just going to use some tape runner to adhere it down. So the stitched plaid background is the size of an entire A2
card base. So it's going to fit edge to edge on this card. And I know some people use their MISTI to line these up. I've just never found a good way to do that, where I just feel like I get it off even more. So I'm just gonna go ahead and line it up like that.
Okay, so there is the start of our card assembly here.
I am going to go ahead and put a little bit of foam tape on the back of the oval because I want that to pop up off of the card base. So, and I have shown you guys this many times before, but if you take the release paper off of your thin foam strips, you can curve them a little bit easier to whatever it is you're wanting to glue down. Thank you so much, Donna. I appreciate it. Okay, let's get the other side of that oval foam taped up. Can't think of another word. All right. Okay. Okay, so, oops, does not want to come off my fingers there. Okay, so what I love about like using the plaid panels, or if you ink blend with some of our stencils, is it makes it really easy to line up a die like this and make sure it's nice and straight and even on your card base. Hi, Julie, welcome. See that it's your first time on one of our lives. Welcome, I'm so glad you found us. Okay, so we've got that down. The ink blending looks so dreamy, doesn't it? I think that's super fun. Pardon me. And then we're going to tuck the flowers in a little bit here. And then I'm going to kind of zhuzh the petals on here. So to give them a little bit of added dimension. Okay. So we'll tuck those guys down in there. And then I am probably going to add just some foam squares in the flowers, just to make sure they stay popped up. Thank you, Cheryl. I appreciate that. Right, Stacy? I agree with that. Okay. All right, I'm going to also put a little bit of liquid glue. Thank you, Lori. Just a little bit of glue down here. Okay, so we want to tuck the stems, but make sure that that leaf stays popped out. Perfect. And I'm going to do even a little bit more additional zhuzhing here. Hi, Beth. No worries. Thanks for joining us when you could. And of course, this will be available for replay not too long after the live is over. Okay, so it is looking real pretty so far. I'm loving how this is turning out. So I think we need to add a butterfly or two here and there. And a sentiment. So the sentiment, the other day, or I guess before I went to Montana, I actually took our hot foil sentiment plates and I just did a whole bunch of them, and they're in this cute little bin here. I was thinking that the best wishes sentiment would look really cute on this card. So I'm just wanting to see what I think. And I actually really do love that. Cheryl, we have that conversation every time. I have no idea how you spell the word juge. Absolutely no idea. So I've got pink here and I've got the blue colored. But I'm thinking I prefer that like aqua-ish blue tone. Although it's a little bit bluer than the aquas we're using. Isn't that a great bin, Donna? It is perfect. I also, in this bin, as you can see, I have some of our strips. That's my textured cardstock. And then underneath it, I have all of like the rainbow stripes I've made. And then all of the stripes cut with our slim stripes die in all the different colors. So they're just super easy to access when I need them. I'm just having a hard time deciding on which color of the best wishes sentiment that I want. Maybe the pink. I think we're going to go with the pink because the blue one is just a little bit bluer than the ink blending I did with the aquas. So I think that's a better call. So I'm going to go ahead and close this up so I don't knock it over and run the risk of moving sentiments everywhere. Oops, I left one out. That's okay. All right. Yeah, I think that that's kind of perfect. But how perfectly fit is that best wishes sentiment right there in the corner? I love it. Okay, now I gotta pick which butterflies I want. I always thought this little one is cute. That's just mostly the side piece here. But I also like this one that's kind of curvy and long. And if anybody's asking, I'm pretty sure I got that bin just at Michael's. Actually, I think that little guy is quite perfect, honestly. I love this one, but I just don't know if it's gonna work out putting him on here. I think I picked too large of a sentiment to add too many more butterflies in. Okay, I think either I'm gonna remove this guy and add this cute butterfly up here. Well, that's kind of cute. There we go. Okay, I think I figured it out. Perfect. There we go. Ooh, that's a good use for that bin too, your foiling supplies. I have a drawer on my desk for all that. Okay, so just a little bit of liquid glue to tuck this guy in there. Hey, stay tucked in there. And then we're going to put just a little bit of glue on the butterfly middle as well. Hi, Barb. Thanks for joining us. Okay. And we're going to just take a little bit of time to glue that guy down. All right. Well, I'm done with butterflies. So really, all we have left to do, is glue down the sentiment, of course. You know what, guys? I think I want to grab the die for this sentiment and cut it a couple more times just from some white cardstock, just to give it a little bit of dimension. So bear with me while I do that. I have some time. I just happen to notice that we're doing really great on time. So I've got some time that makes I feel comfortable getting that done, and we get to spend the full hour together here. Sounds like Lori has a really beautiful garden. That's exciting. We have been traveling so much that I didn't get to see my peonies bloom. It's been so hot and unseasonably dry here that our back area isn't like looking amazing, but that's okay. It happens. Okay, let's do that one more time, and that will just give the sentiment a little bit of extra. Okay. Let's get these glued together really quickly. And you know me, I gotta poke out all the little insides so that the die is ready for the next time I go to use it. All right, I think we got them all. And let's go ahead and glue these pieces together. Trying to, well, I was trying to avoid getting, I didn't realize I'm doing that all off screen. Trying to avoid getting as much adhesive on my glass mat as possible, but I just think it's inevitable. Okay. Oh, I'm not lining that up very well, am I? We need to pay better attention here. Okay. One last layer here. And then we can glue the sentiment down. So I think I mentioned the last time that I was live, which was before my vacation to Montana, that I don't have the best luck with colored foils. And so I set out to try to figure out why that was. And so I foiled a bunch of our sentiments in all of the different foil colors that I have. And this pinkish one was one that I was struggling with. And what I actually found, and I didn't get perfect results every single time, but what I actually found was when I was using like the pink and the lavender, the blue was always pretty good, but the reds, anything that was kind of reddish, purplish based, that you had, basically, I had to use them right after the platform was heated up, but you don't want to do it after the platform had been on for a long time. So I think what maybe happens is that the platform maybe gets a little over hot, and then those colors don't just over transfer. So keep that in mind if you're ever having struggles with using your colored foils, because I certainly have in the past, and I didn't get perfect results every time, but I definitely got better results as I would let the foil machine cool. So your best bet would be to use your colored foils first and get your foiling done then, and then you can move on to the metallics, the golds and rose gold and silver and all that, because I've never really had any issues with those ones overfoiling as much. And what I mean by overfoiling, so, my flower overfoiled a little bit and I was able to just erase it away. What I'm talking about is where I think it just gets so hot that like little dots of the foil stick in areas where you don't want them to, and an eraser does not give them away. So just a thought. Carol, I am using that Hammermill card stock as a card base. It's 100 pound, and I certainly believe that it is sturdy enough. Oh, I'm going to use that again. Okay, finally, let's add some jewels to this sweet little card that we have going on here. And then we're going to be finished. Okay, so let's go ahead and use the ballet slipper, whoa, pink, and the aqua colored jewels. It's based to the color that we named these jewels. And then glacier. Okay, so these are all available in the set, but you can also get them individually as refills now, which is super exciting. All right. I need a big one, big blue, medium pink, and a little white jewel here. Okay. And then maybe the opposite in the upper corner. Just have to see if I can find any larger jewels in here. Oh, no, we're going to stick with the same because I see the large blue jewel right on the top. Okay. So there's that. The pink and the blue can be put away. Barb, I'm not completely sure what you're asking. Are you asking about the flower? If so, that was our Thankful for Friends hot foil plate with the coordinating layering stencils and die. And then these little tiny butterflies were done with our small butterflies hot foiling plate and layering stencils as well. Okay, let's get these glued down first. And then I'm also going to add a couple jewels just to the butterflies. Okay. Ooh. Trying to knock jewels all over my desk. It's not an uncommon occurrence around here. Oh, thank you, Cheryl. I actually, this is actually inspired by a card from one of our team members, TaeEun. So she definitely gets the credit for the design because I just got home last night. So I needed something that was a little easy to do and kind of already done for me. Okay, I want to add, just want to flip over here. I thought this one would be really cute if his little body was all jewels. Let me see what I think here. Oh, thanks, Julie. I love to hear that. Yeah, that's pretty adorable. And then just the cute little jewel in the middle on that guy. Perfect. These away. I'm just going to adhere down these last couple of jewels. And then we are done, friends. And Kinnery will be picking the winner shortly of the $15 gift card code for today's live. Okay, that, do a little bit of arranging here. Okay. So there is our beautiful card for today. Thank you so much to TaeEun for the inspiration and the beautiful card that she created. I love how mine turned out, a little bit different colors and sentiments used. And I hope you guys enjoyed my card today. All right, so I'm gonna get the camera flipped around while we wait for Kinnery to post and share the winner today. Oops, did not mean to do that. Sorry, guys. Accidentally shut off the video. All right. Well, thanks for joining me today. I felt a little bit rusty after having been on vacation for about 10 days. But thanks for bearing in there with me and hanging out with me today. So, looks like we have our winner. Congratulations to Jennifer Coles. You have won today's $15 gift card code, so congratulations, yay. You'll just send an email to me, which is leah@peakfreshstudio.com. There's no H on the end of my name, so it's just LEA. And then I will get back to you and send you your gift card code in about 2 to 3 business days. All right, well, congratulations. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I'm going to be honest, I don't really have a live schedule for you for this week. So just keep an eye out for those emails and also our Instagram stories letting you know if we're going to be live. It's summer, so we've got, a lot of people taking time off and breaks and stuff like that. So I'm sure this fall we'll get back to a little bit more of a regular live schedule. So thanks for bearing with us during the summertime as we all take time away and for vacations and such. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining me today for this hour. I hope you had a wonderful time. And other than that, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time.